David? We'll do two more after David. Okay, thanks. This is mainly for Steve, because Stan asked about character. We'll talk about that. And we've talked a lot about the upcoming labor talks. And most of the talk has been about money. Has there been any talk about the conduct policy for the players, how happy the owners and the players' union have been with it? Is there any talk of tweaking it, changing it? Now that it's been in place for a few years, is everybody happy with how it's all played out?
I think so. In general, I think that all the owners are happy that Roger came in and turned up the heat a little bit. And I think that we've been fortunate as a team, but I don't think that. I think the punishment should be severe, because I think that I hope Roger continues to be tough on all the issues like that. The union's going to have their say in that, in these talks, and it's going to be one of the peripheral issues, other than the actual financial structure thing. So I assume that it's going to be addressed, but Roger's not backing down on this one. I think that if he does not have the power to do the things that he's done, then I think that we're all worse off because of it. So I salute him for getting tougher, and I hope he continues to get tougher, because I think that it gives these coaches all the way down to the high school level a hammer for helping guide these kids from the time they are stars in high school to being the big man on campus. And I hope it filters down into the colleges, and I hope the colleges get tougher and start suspending these guys that embarrass the rest of the team. That's the one thing that, if you ever came from a big family, and which I didn't, I only have brother and sister, but anybody that came from a big family, boy, if you messed up, it was the last name of that your father impressed upon you. It wasn't your first name, because you were representing, 7 other people, and you had an obligation to them. And that's what's happening here, is that we've got 99% of these guys are wonderful people, 1,800 of them in the league, that we're proud to be associated with, and it takes 18, 20 arrests a year to make them look like they're a bunch of outlaws, and it's really unfair to the ones that do it right and lead their lives, the way that we're proud of. And so, I think we have to learn to do without that 1 or 2% of the guys and suspend them for a year instead of 4 games and things like that. And I think that they'll get the message.
Eli, we're going to do 3 more. Stan, Steve, and Pete. That'll be it.
Steve, you talked about the uncapped year a lot, but on the flip side of that means there's no floor either. The teams that they have to spend like they have in the past. Is there any fear from what I would call your group of more competitive owners that some teams will slash payroll and disrupt maybe the competitive balance of the league that made the league so good?
Stan, I think it would be short-lived, and I think that the teams that would have to do that would figure out the best way to trim their payroll. And but every year there's 8 bad teams, across the league. And if that's the reason, it will be short-lived. It'll be a 1-year thing. I certainly don't, I'm hoping that we avoid the lockout altogether. So it's certainly an issue, but we're being driven to that anyway. And there are some teams that are spending the minimum that they have to spend, and whether they go 10 million below that or not, I don't know that it would show up as teams that can't compete, because the teams that end up 1-15 like the Rams this year, it wasn't a payroll issue. So I really don't think that there might be a couple outliers on the top side and a couple on the bottom, but I think that you can pretty much count on 28 teams competing for those 12 playoff spots even in an uncapped year.